Hello, it's Kieran here and welcome to Daytona Sandown Park for a Sodi sprint race. 32 overtakes on track, but more importantly here at the front of the grid. For the first time in a long time I was racing with 4 or 5 other karts and we were quite evenly matched for the whole race, so some really good battles going on. That's something I've missed recently in the last couple of months, where I either seem to be qualify first and win from there or qualify round the back and stay at the back, so this was a welcome surprise from that. You can see that I've tweaked the graphics on screen to make them a bit smaller, a bit more crisp. Still got the rear view window at the top, which is really helpful for this race because lots of overtaking and battling. And if you do like this video, then please do like or subscribe to be the first to know when I upload something new. But into the race now, so I'm going to have a dive up the inside here from quite a long way away, but it was one of my favourite places to overtake because people were taking quite a wide line. I was often taking a defensive line anyway, so it was wide open, slammed in, and I've moved up to 4th. You can see first and second are having a good old battle here, and third is kind of just waiting to see if they're going to go offline and who will have a go, and the same for me, just a bit further behind. It was one of those races where it wasn't about pure pace. The track was evolving all the time, the positions were swapping all the time, so it was really all about racecraft actually, and I think the races I've had here recently in the wet really helped me to understand where the grip is and when not to outbrake myself. You might have seen the video from last week or a couple of weeks ago when I spun into turn 1. Didn't make that mistake this time, just took it a bit easier there, so that was good intel. So you can see this corner, people have wildly different lines. The guy who was in first has now dropped into second because he took a really wide line, but now he's got the inside line for the next corner, which is the best line. And he makes the move. This corner here was just an absolutely great overtaking spot, so there's some good stuff there later on. You can see they're swapping and changing at the front, a bit of bumping. He's not happy. Third place now looking through. I've managed to close up. It's a great example of when people are battling ahead of you, how much you close up. I'm not in the best position here because I'm not really going to do anything on the outside. In fact, I don't like the outside line from last time, so I take it easy on the inside. You see the first 2 drivers take a completely different line. I'm not entirely sure who gets the best exit, although the person in first place seems to have gapped slightly. This corner here I really struggled with last time, but I think I was a bit better this time, not trying to be so narrow and get stuck on that standing water. I've got the inside line here, so I'm definitely going to have a go, even if he's slightly ahead, and yeah, slamming in, I'm up to 3rd now. So making some good progress. Oh, and the guy in first place has spun. And it's a bit of chaos. The guy behind me was a bit unlucky, he got blocked. And now here I thought, should I have a go on the outside? Definitely not, because if I have a go on the outside there, I'll just get pushed all the way outside and then I'll be overtaken. And he spun as well in second, so it's all kicking off and suddenly I've made my way up in second. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself now. I qualified 5th, but I'm up to 2nd, although this guy's going to have a look up the inside, but he's not going to make it. And feeling pretty comfortable inside the car. Kart feels pretty good. Off the start, you saw that I dropped back slightly, but not too much, and I would expect to drop back, so I think I'm one of the heavier drivers here. So it shows the car actually is pretty decent. And now going about trying to catch up with first place. I think there might be a yellow flag here, yeah. So I never really make the most of the yellow flags. I think I'm probably too cautious. I just don't want to push too much and spin or overtake by mistake or something like that. So I tend to take it easy, but that's something I probably need to work on. So we're cutting through the traffic now. So you don't want to lose your flow, but I actually like working my way through traffic because it forces you to look up at the track ahead and try and foresee where that car is going to be and create your line around it, which I think just really helps for overtaking generally. So I've dropped away from first here. I didn't think he was massively faster than me, but I think this is the first time that he's had some clear air behind him and he's making the most of it, so I need to do whatever I can to catch up and make him take some defensive lines. I was definitely driving much more defensively in this race, you can see here for this corner, than I do normally, and that I think a little bit of that was due to the shadows, where you can see here because the sun is so low. This was actually on Christmas Eve, this race, it was a Christmas race, that you can see people coming quite easily when they're behind you, which again is a bit off-putting and something I'll have to get better at dealing with. You can see around this corner here sometimes I have a glance over my shoulder. Do I do it here? Yeah, have a little quick glance, and if I know there's someone behind me, I'll take a narrower line here. I was trying to take a narrower line anyway, because I don't think the wide line is the faster line in the wet, or at least for me anyway. So catching up with more traffic now. Again, timing is everything. The guy behind me having another look. And this is a good timing for me because I'm going to be in the slipstream, duck out and overtake on the straight rather than at the first corner. And I think I know at this point that I've definitely got a decent kart because the guy behind me has had a look a few times in that last corner. And if I didn't have a decent kart, he would definitely be overtaking me on that straight. So that was a good feeling to have. I don't think we're catching the guy in front yet. I'm not sure, but as I said, this race was all about an evolving track, changing positions, there's yellow flags, there's traffic to deal with. You absolutely could not switch off in this race at any point, and I think we were all quite evenly matched in the top 5. So at this point, again making our way through the traffic. I think I'll talk about some of the graphics on screen just to explain them actually. So I've moved stuff around as I said. So in the bottom right I've changed the lap graph time thing. So now every lap is on that graph. You can see the peaks are the top speed I'm reaching on this straight, which is just shy of 45 miles an hour I think. And the idea is that if I have a particularly quick lap or I'm fast on the straight, you might see that line go a bit higher, and again if I'm faster around the corners or faster out of the corners, so my base speed is higher, then you should be able to see that as well. But it might be, I think it's probably a bit too small at the moment, so I think I'm going to make that a bit bigger for the next video. But if you have any thoughts, then let me know in the comments. Be interested to hear your views. I've also condensed the lap timers in the top left. I don't think we needed all the last 10 laps, so you can just scroll back and forth in the video. And I've also consolidated the speed stuff in the bottom left along with a position indicator, so P2 at the moment. So hopefully that's helpful. I like messing around with all these graphics, that's cool. I'd like to maybe tweak them to make them a bit more professional looking, we'll see. But anyway, I find it really enjoyable to watch my races back with the review window and the graphics and everything. It's pretty cool. I think this is where the race gets pretty interesting. So there's a yellow flag now, and the guy in front of me is really unlucky because he's just ended up behind some slow traffic. And now I can see the yellow flag is gone, the incident is gone, and I overtake. And that's a pretty on the edge move. I can understand if the person behind me is unhappy about that, but the yellow flag incident had ended and I went for it, so it was a strong move by me. I don't normally do kind of really strong moves like that, but I think I had, for some reason, I had the bit between my teeth today and I really wanted to get as high up on that podium as I could. So I've overtaken this guy. He was definitely ahead of me for the rest of the race. I wasn't really catching up with him. He bumps in the back here, accidental. I don't really mind it because I think I was tending to brake a bit earlier there for that corner, which is why the last few laps we've seen people kind of put their nose on the inside. But he's let me know he's there, and he's definitely going to be all over me now, and the race is on. So he's well on, he takes that wide line and he gets past me there, but I seem to have a lot of grip on the inside, and I think that is a faster line, at least for me, the inside there in the wet. And again here, trying to work out this hairpin, getting very defensive. He's also poking his nose up the inside, but I'm basically parked on the apex. So interesting now. So that yellow flag is really bunches up. It felt like a bit like a Formula 1 race where you have a safety car and suddenly it's almost like you restart the race, everything really close together, and that's exactly what's happened here. So again, he's on the inside, he's all over me. So it's kind of a bit stressful times here. I've got to just try and do my thing and drive as well as possible. I was thinking here just about doing qualifying laps, literally as fast as possible, and do everything I can to make some sort of a gap, so he's essentially going to be fed to the sharks behind and end up in a battle with them. And I really enjoyed this challenge. As I said before, I haven't had many races recently where I've been proper battles like this. So again, he's just trying to have a go on the inside this time, but again, I've got decent traction now. I think I'm a bit heavier and I think it gives me good traction. He's kind of feeding back into the other drivers now exactly how I want it. So as soon as he starts feeling the heat from them, he'll start taking some more defensive lines maybe. And a yellow flag here, and it might be done now. So the way yellow flags work at this Daytona circuit is you have marshals with flags, but you also, before every corner, have a flashing box which flashes yellow for a yellow light, and then it's clear when there's no incident. And so the reason why I got into first place was that box ahead was flashing, and then it stopped. And as soon as it stopped, I went. But it's a bit marginal. I hear absolute disaster. I try and go through the middle here, but I slide. And luckily, the guy behind me gives me a little tap, and I do a full 360. If he hadn't tapped me, I would have gone face first into those barriers, and I would have been stuck, and that would have been game over. But I was too cocky there. I was trying to slalom through those two back markers, and I should have just basically kept it on the inside and had them on the straight. But there we go. Now, I was quite irritated at this point because I was in first place, and now I'm back down to 5th. But actually, I'm a bit lucky because that could have been a lot worse for me. Either I could have been basically out of the race, or I could have lost a lot of time. And I haven't really. I'm kind of on the back of them already. And I found that in the time that I've been racing, when you have a moment like that, an incident, and you lose places, and it might have been your fault, it might have been something out of your control, the next couple of laps are so important, your response, because I think it's really tempting to either overdrive and brake really late and try and be really aggressive and think, oh, I need to get back all that time as soon as possible. And for me, at least, that's not the fastest way for me to drive. I'll just lose time when I might even make a mistake. Or the other thing that's tempting to do is think, oh, I'll just, I don't want to make another mistake, so I'll just take it a bit easy for the next couple of laps, and then you've fallen off the pack and you've kind of got into a slower rhythm. And both those things, I think, well, for me, are equally bad. So the response I had this time, which was good, I think, and I don't always have this response, was just to put my head down and just, again, go for qualifying laps. Consistency, I just tried to ignore the pack ahead and just drive as fast as I possibly could within my own limits. And actually, I think, here, it doesn't look like I've really actually caught on them, even though I think most of these drivers I've passed previously in the race. But again, I had my head down, I was trying to go for it. There's going to be a lot of traffic in this race. It's a wet track, anything can happen. With this new helmet, actually, because it's a motorcycle helmet, I have a pin lock insert on the visor, which prevents it steaming up. But with my old helmet, if I didn't control my breathing, it would steam up. So I would, I could see right in front of me if I wasn't in control of what I was doing. So that was a good kind of immediate feedback to have. So you saw another back marker, I think, had spun there. Still not really catching up onto this pack, but they're going to be fighting with each other. That's a great thing when you're karting with people of kind of at a similar standard. The racing can be just really close, and it comes down to racecraft and overtaking and how good you are at defending, how good you are at sending it. And I really enjoy that, and like I said a few times now, I've missed that, so hopefully I have a few more races like that. I think I might be catching up slightly now. There's a bit of a Constantina effect here. I've slid around that corner, which is not the fastest way to go. I'm a bit smooth around here. I think, as I've also said a few times, for that corner there in the wet, for me it's all about minimising wheel spin, even if that means sacrificing how quickly you get to full throttle. So yellow flag here. Again, I'm really lucky because I think they've been all stuck behind a couple of back markers, which has pushed them back slightly, so I've definitely gained a little bit. And I know my kart's decent, so it's still definitely race on here. People taking wildly different lines through there, 3 abreast. I think it looks like there's 6 or so karts in there, so some back markers. So I go through here, haven't overtaken anyone yet. This guy in the black suit was first, so he's slipped back. Now at this point I go full send it mode and I go really aggressive. I'm a million miles away here, but I still send it down the inside from literally another postcode. That was just absolute slingshot move, and he spun behind me so the double whammy. But for the next couple of laps I just went not red mist but just overtaking mist down the inside there on the back marker. I can see now the top 3 ahead of me. I'm really close, I've got momentum, I feel great, I've just done a great move, and I think I'm just going to try and overtake wherever I can, and just with full confidence. So here on the straight in the wet, don't really like going on the inside here, but somehow I managed to do it. I think I was a bit lucky because the guy I overtook didn't really close onto the apex, and I went through the open door. So now I'm up to P3, first and second. I think both of these drivers I've overtaken previously, so can I do it again? that guy there. There's a yellow flag, so that's going to be helpful for me. We close up. I think the yellow flag is over now. So again, where can I have a move here? Yeah, still yellow, but that was the incident, so now we can be racing. I've got a good line through here. Definitely on the inside, probably too far away, but no, I have another massive lunge. A tiny bit of contact. He's got the inside line, but unluckily there's a back marker there. So another kind of fortuitous move for me. And get it done. He has another look on the inside, so now I'm made 3 places, I think, in 2 laps. With some pretty, I don't know what the word is, kind of gambly overtakes. But I didn't spin, I didn't lock up, I went for them with full commitment and I made them, so that was a lot of fun. And now, first place here, again he's managed to get a bit of a gap and I've got this guy right behind me. And we're 16 laps in now, so we're getting close to the end of the race. I think there's going to be about 3 or 4 laps left and I'm in this awkward position where trying to defend from this guy behind me, but also I really want to get first, because if I can get first in this race, that would just be a great feeling for Christmas. So I've actually got a bit of gap on the guy behind me now. I think he had a bad exit on that corner. There's some traffic ahead. And to be honest, if you think about this race, I qualified 5th. I was probably expecting to qualify a little bit higher, but qualified 5th, that's, you know, you want to work upwards from there, but you know, it wasn't like a qualified front row or anything. So to be second now, especially after I got up to P1 and then back to P5 and now back up to P2, I was having a lot of fun. I'm lucky there because the back marker doesn't claim the apex. I think he's spun a bit, the guy, or slid a bit through there, the guy in first place. Some more back markers coming ahead, and you know, at this point sometimes in races when it gets to the last couple of laps, sometimes I'm thinking, you know, I'm in a good position. When the checker flag comes down, you know, good stuff from mine. That's my race done. But here I just did not want it to end because I'm having so much fun. I feel like I'm getting slightly closer to this guy ahead of me. I felt like he was sliding a bit more, and I started to, at the end of this race, really move my body around in the kart. So around the first corner, around this corner, lean outside, get that outside wheel dug in, try and lift the inside wheel. Probably not on these karts, but that kind of rotation. I'm really hunting this guy down ahead of me. And I actually spoke with the guy who came 4th in this race afterwards, just about how much fun we'd had in the race, but just also how close it was and the kind of spins people were having and whatnot. So it's one of those races where I think everyone had a lot of fun. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to end up on the podium here, although I think in the end the top 4 drivers were separated by 2.5 or something. It's pretty close, but I'm feeling pretty good in the kart here, and this guy taking the wider line here as well as in the first corner probably gets a better exit than me. I can see that the guy behind me is really close, going very defensive here. Don't want to lose the position. I wasn't very good around this corner, I was slowing down. This is where I got tapped in the back before, and again a narrow line here which is going to compromise me. The guy in first place going very wide there. Got the decent kart, so the person in third is not going to be able to look on my inside line because I take that inside line here. You can see the difference in lines that I'm taking in the guy in first, although I think it's pretty marginal as to who is getting the better traction. I'm not sure. I think he ends up wider on the exit, which is better for this series of corners, which is probably why he's first and I'm second. But there we go. I think this is actually going to be the last lap, and I was pretty stressed out soon because there were yellow flags. Are we under yellows now? I can't see. No, we're not under yellows yet, but we're under yellows now, and I was thinking, oh no, yellow flags, everyone is going to close up behind me, and as soon as we restart, I'm just going to get ambushes everywhere. But actually, as luck would have it, we actually go over the line here on yellow flags. I think there was a kart being recovered there on the side. Checker flag drops, and race is over. So really, really, really fun race. Wasn't sure whether to go on Christmas Eve, but thought I would go before I stuffed myself with lots of turkey and stuff for Christmas. So yeah, really good fun. I think I might try and cut out those couple of laps in the middle where I went on my overtaking rampage into a separate video. But I hope you enjoyed this, and yeah, please like or subscribe if you want to hear about my new videos when they come up. See you next time.